Merry Christmas, everybody. Today I want to talk about Christmas lights for the front of your house. Now I've got a bunch of tabs open on my computer of things to show you, physically show you, as well as talk about my recommendations for what Christmas lights I use and what I could recommend to you. LEDs versus incandescent, safety with ladders and what kind of cords and things that you would need to power these, solar versus electricity. If this sounds interesting to you, we're making videos every single day in the studio on, of course, channel 2. Well, of course, we are on channel 1 where we make travel films. Sometimes they go viral of my locations that I've been to around the world, right? But getting back to what we're talking about, some houses go down the absolute damnest laziest path. All right, I have seen so many houses like this in my surrounding area, and for that particular reason, that's one of the reasons why I'm making this video, because I'm tired of seeing people doing this. Like, why would you do this? They aren't going towards the house. What's the word? The lights aren't attached to the house to emphasize the structural integrity of the house, right? They're just kind of thrown here, thrown there. And that is, in my opinion, a terribly lazy thing to do. And in a lot of ways, this looks worse than actually having lights on your house to begin with, right? This is worse than having no lights, all right? 100%. Now, this is another photo. Screw it, all right? This is kind of a funny, kind of a meme-worthy situation, right? They're just kind of like, yep, there you go, screw it. It's funny. Now, this is an interesting one, right? This is kind of the lazy route, but they've made it funny, all right, with the Grinch pulling them down. Now, here's another lazy situation, but once again, they've made it kind of funny with Santa Claus peeing, and it's the bare minimum, right? It kind of works. But, I mean, when you consider something like this, right, take a look at that. That looks so incredible. I mean, look at this one here as well. Absolutely top marks. They've done such an amazing job showing the emphasis of the windows, of the pillars and the roof and the gutter and the way the house does the triangle. They've done such an amazing job actually showing off what's already there, as opposed to, just being like, yep, throw it on. That looks incredible, obviously, but, throw it on and just call it a day. That's no good, right? So, Christmas lighting versus Christmas lights, sorry, I should say. Lighting, LEDs versus incandescents. Well, here are a quick little summarize of the newer LEDs, right? So LEDs use less electricity, which we all know by now. Bulbs rarely burn out, so they're going to last a long time. They emit a brighter light, okay? They provide purer colors, so more prettier colors if you're interested with that, right? Larger variety of colors and string sizes, many different sizes and colors, right? Now, they're available in vintage colors to replicate the look of incandescent lights. So if you're an old school person who likes the incandescent light look, LEDs do that, all right? So that's awesome. So they don't heat up. LEDs don't heat up as much, nowhere near as much, kind of thing, right? So therefore, it is less of a fire hazard. Now, going to incandescent, obviously, higher electricity usage, costs more over the lifetime of the lights due to having to replace the bulbs, / it uses more money, more energy, more money as well, I guess you could say. Bulbs frequently burn out and are getting harder and harder to replace because LEDs clearly are the future, right? What else we got? Colors tend to be slightly off yellowed. The colors are just not as pure as LEDs, and the light given off is dimmer. So it just goes to show, if you guys want to read all of that, then you can, right? Interesting little website there. But, LEDs have been becoming more and more powerful and more energy efficient and just overall better as years have gone by. And in fact, where I live in Sydney, Australia, I don't think I can even find any incandescent Christmas lights these days. They're only LEDs. And I'm not complaining. I have used Christmas lights for my house and at the front of my house for many, many years. Even when I was like a teenager, I was putting them on at the house, and my house looks something similar to this. Not that one. Okay, there's a photo somewhere I'm going to show you, but I have LED lights all on the gutters. But it basically emphasizes the house, right? So I've got a lot of experience with this, but over the years, I have used incandescent light bulbs as well as LEDs, and 100% the LEDs are 100% the way to go, because incandescent, right, the bulbs break, and some of those Christmas lights, it's not just one bulb that breaks, but it's the actual like 6 bulbs after. Do you know what I mean? It's like one bulb breaks and then 6 more break, and then if you've got a bunch of Christmas lights, like heaps and heaps, like hundreds on this line, right? Then you've got to replace. You've got to try and pull out every one of those broken ones. Well, one of them's broken, right? But they all seem broken. 6 in a row seem broken, kind of thing. So you've got to pull them all out and then put a brand new one in, just to try and find the actual broken one. And of course, if you have more than one broken light, then you've got 6 broken here, 6 broken there, 6 broken over there, and you've got to replace 6, 6, 6. It's the devil. It's a devil situation, pretty much. Okay. Geez, that was kind of clever of me to get that on. I was like, yeah, super smart. You know what I'm saying? It's basically a terrible waste of time. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. So LEDs are a lot better. Now look at this picture right here. We got LEDs on the left, and we've got incandescent on the right, and both of them are piled together, like they haven't been taken apart yet, kind of thing, right? And incandescent are clearly a lot hotter with this FLIR camera situation, right? So yeah, over the years, fire has been an absolute problem, right? With inside Christmas lights on Christmas trees, people have left them on during the night and woken up in the morning to realize that there's a fire in their house. It's a terrible situation, right? So LEDs are 100% my pick for the Christmas lights. There's nothing beats them. All right, incandescent can go forever, and I'll never see you again, and I would be very happy for that. That's not an issue. Now, when you are putting Christmas lights on the front of your house, right, you want to make sure that you realize what your house looks like. All right, you want to, you don't particularly need the plans of the house, but you need to mentally have the plans in your mind, mentally, of the outside of the house, right? So like I said, you've got the roof portions here, all right? You got the roof portions here, so you'd put lights up here and then down here, maybe following there as well, maybe following the lines of the window. You want to emphasize what you have with lights. None of this, where are we? None of this bullshit. That's just terrible, right? It just looks dreadful. The house would look better without lights. All right? So you want to know what your house looks like and then plan the lights for that situation. But obviously, when it comes to planning the lights, you may need something like a timer. All right? Because when you've got those lights on your house, you're going to need, to power them. And we'll get to that in a second with electricity cords and all that. But when it comes to actually powering these lights, you need to make sure that your plug can fit into the plug, right? You need to make sure that the power can reach the lights. So, I mean, it's not a matter of bringing the lights closer to the plug. You would need an extension cord. And I'll just quickly show you that now since we are talking about it, right? Outdoor extension cords that are, preferably water resistant or something like that kind of thing. Look into it. Go to your local hardware shop and try and find some questions, some answers to your questions, kind of thing. But something like that, so then you can bring the power to your lights instead of bringing the lights to the power, right? But anyway, going back to what we were talking about with, timers. Timers are a very important thing, because without them, every night and every morning, you have to remember to turn them off and turn them on at a specific time, right? And in a lot of cases, you're just not going to remember, right? Oops, should have turned the lights on and it's now 9 o'clock at night and it's been dark for a couple hours already. Or you've left them on all night long and now it's like 10 in the morning or midday, or you've gone to work and you've left them on, right? So having a timer is a very important thing. Now, I have used digital timers many times over the years. And I've used these a couple of times over the years as well. Now, I will say that I have had, personally, a lot of problems with digital timers. I think they use some sort of internal battery to remember what's going on. It's like a little microchip. It's a little mini computer inside of there that makes these buttons work when you click them, right? And for whatever reason, the computer system inside of these things, after maybe 6 months, after maybe a year, maybe longer, I don't know, depending how lucky you are, right? But the computer system in these things, in my situation, seems to die after 6 months or more. It's shit, right? You plug it back into the wall, hoping to charge it again, because there's a little internal battery or a capacitor or something in there that makes it work, right? So you plug it back in the wall after having it unplugged for a while. You'd think it would make it work, but no. It's basically crippled internally for whatever reason. So I suggest that you use one of these things. Now these things are a mechanical switch timer that, you know, basically spins around slowly. This whole thing literally spins around. Is it once a day or twice a day? I don't quite know. Probably twice. Once. This whole thing would spin around once during the day. I'm pretty sure. Okay, so this thing, in my situations at least, my testing at least, has been a lot more resilient, long-lasting. As easy as a digital timer is, it just seems a lot more, you know, precise, and there is a lot more precision when it comes to the digital timers. But like I said, in my case, I find that these older style mechanical ones last a hell of a lot longer. And I wish it wasn't that way, but it is, in my situation. Many of them had died, okay? Now, you can also get these outdoor water-resistant-ish electronic, you know, what would you call them? You know, a double adapter kind of thing that sits in the floor with a big stake on the ground. See that thing there? So with this image right now, you get a better picture of what this thing does, right? And there's someone with, you know, watering it kind of thing, and it's not really an issue. So these things are really cool. I've personally never used it, but there's the timer situation, and it's an actual mechanical turny one kind of thing. So yeah, they seem to be a lot better. And you're obviously powering the lights in your garden or whatever it is you've got in your garden, right? And that thing does seem to be cool. In fact, I actually might buy one of them someday. I've never bought it, but I actually might do it someday. So those electricity cords that I recommend. So how to be safe, all right? You're putting the Christmas lights up and you're gonna need a ladder. So how are you gonna be safe? Let's quickly talk about it. There's your ladder, okay? So what's the next image? Okay, so you got a ladder, okay? You're doing, you know, stuff high up, okay? You're not supposed to be up high on your freaking roof, but there you are doing it anyway, risking life and limb for those beautiful lights to be glistening at nighttime, for the kiddies in the street to walk past with the parents being like, wow, that's awesome, right? So you need to be safe when you do this. Now, in my opinion, it's important to have two people out the front when you're doing this. One being yourself, obviously, and another person being a family member, always keeping an eye on you if you're on the roof or at a high up point on the ladder. That way, if you do fall and if you're not well, say you got a broken neck or whatever, they can quickly assist you and call for an ambulance. Otherwise, I mean, if you're on a ladder, for example, and you fall over, everyone's inside your house and no one's going to know that you've just fallen over unless you've given the biggest scream or something, you know? So it's very important that someone else is out there with you. And that way, if you do fall over, maybe they could try and catch you or hold the ladder if you're on top of the ladder. I mean, you're adding the extra layer of security. It's your life, right? It's your freaking life. Make it a safe life, all right, kind of thing. Now, if you don't want to get on the ladder situation, there's this thing right here. This is a ladder-free Christmas light hanger. It's basically a big red pole that hangs Christmas lights. See that kind of thing? That's actually really cool. Now, I've never used this, but I mean, this is a thing if you are shorter, because I am about 6'8" tall. I am pretty tall, maybe 6'9". I don't know. I'm a tall ass. Okay. Yes. Now, if you shorties out there, you're gonna need a ladder or a pole like this. It would really benefit you. So there you go. Now, if you're hanging Christmas lights onto your gutter or onto the, what would you call those things? Roof tiles or shillings? What do you call those things? Those really flat little things. I don't know what they're called, but yeah, if you want to hang them onto your roof somehow, using Christmas light hooks to hook them up is such a huge good thing to use. Now, some gutters have little holes every 2 centimeters inside the gutter going along the house, right? Maybe that's to allow extra runoff of the rain to come through and go to the pavement, right? But I've actually in the past used string. I put the string through these individual gutter holes, right? And so there's the gutter there, for example. There's usually little holes in the gutter just to allow the excess water to come out. And I end up putting the string in there and tie the string through around it and put the cords through there. And that works really well as well if you haven't got clips. So string, cheap. It's cheap as chips, all right? Really, really cheap. Now, what's next? What's next? How to be safe. All right. Where's the next one? Okay. Solar versus electric. Now, this is a hot topic. This is something that, with incandescent bulbs, mostly, well, in my area in Sydney, Australia at least, mostly no one stocks them anymore. So it's basically LED versus LED. All right. Solar LEDs versus electric plug-in-the-wall LEDs. What's the difference? What's the major difference? Let's quickly talk about this, right? So, solar lights can be really, really convenient because, hey, you don't need to find an electricity plug. Plus, it's free, right? You're using the power from the sun. And, this is a solar house. I do believe this is a solar house, right? These little light displays are using, power from the sun, right, to power it. Now, you can get solar lights like that as well. But in these situations, I mean, as good as it does look, the picture quality, what am I trying to say? The brightness level is just not there compared to electricity. It's just not there. When it comes to electric plug-in lights like this, you're getting so much more light for your lights, right? Plus, with these electricity plugs, I mean, these kind of displays, right? There's also a button on the side, and these buttons have different patterns, and some of those patterns are so freaking obnoxious. They're the flash, 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 slow flash, slow flash, 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 flash. I always try to avoid the flash, flash, flash situation because it really is epileptic. I can't even say it, but it's epileptic inducing. It's gone above me now. It's gone well over and truly over me, that one. But anyway, so I do suggest using these solar lights to kind of reflect on your trees. And we'll get to that in a second. But once again, solar lights can be nice, and I have used them in the past, but they're not as bright. And one more thing. I mean, they only last roughly about 8 hours. Roughly. It depends how far you've put the solar panel into the sun and how much sun it gets during the day. Does your garden have tall trees around, or do you have a big tall house next to it? If so, the sun will be moving across, right? And the shadow of the trees and the shadow of the house will be on the solar panel for maybe the majority of the day, and therefore you're going to be getting a few hours of light at night, and then the solar lights will be dead, right? But in most cases, they last usually about 8 hours, less or more, a little bit. But regardless, even when they are running, it's not as bright as actually electricity lights. All right. So electricity lights, this is the brightness level from them. Really, really bright. I mean, it's stunning. Your house could become Disneyland potentially. Okay. This is a normal powered electricity house. Really, really nice. Simple. I do like simple, right? KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. KISS is really, really cool. Now this, in my opinion, is too much color. Okay, but it is electricity, obviously. Okay, just going back to make sure that we've talked about everything. Solar versus electric. Yeah, so I do recommend them. Okay, but they're not as good as electric. But I do actually recommend these things. I've used a lot of these things in the past, and the massive solar panel actually seems to charge these lights quite a lot. And if you've got it in a good sunny area for the majority of the day, then this will be very good for your trees. Now we will show you that in a second, right? Now that looks really, really cool, but there is such a thing as too much. Too much. We'll get to that in a second, right? Now that's also another nice display of lights, right? It keeps it simple and they emphasize what's already there. I mean, look at the trees. I mean, the trees are lit up, right? The trees at that kind of year in this town haven't really got too many leaves, right? So the leaves aren't really, stuffing up the visual aspect of the light, right? But the lights, I mean, the emphasis of the tree is there significantly, and I really, really like that. And as you can see, they've illuminated the poles of the house and the pathway, and as well as the gutter. I mean, it looks clean. It looks really good. There are some examples, which I think I will show you in a second, where people have just gone completely overboard. They've just smashed the house and the garden with so much. It's just like, oh, what do I look at first? It's just a huge mess of lights. Okay, now I don't mean a huge mess of lights in this way. I mean that's a huge mess of lights, right? But it's a huge mess of lights in a good way / bad way. I'll get to that in a second, right? So going to here, where are we? Okay, all right. So this is a situation where too much is too much. I mean, not only are they paying for so much more electricity, right? But they're paying for so much more boxes of lights to buy from these shops, right? They're paying with their time by putting too much of their effort into this, and at the end of the day, it's just a conglomerate. Am I saying it right? It's just a big bloody mess of lights. So, there's one extreme of hardly giving a shit, just throwing your lights everywhere, to this extreme of having too much everywhere. So you got to find the right situation for your house, right? That's my opinion, at least. Now, going to the whole lighting up your tree situation. This is a huge one in my books, right? Going back to, where are we? These things right here are actually awesome. Now, you can get these things in either solar or electricity, power plug electricity kind of thing. Obviously, power electricity will last all night long until you turn the switch off, or your timer turns the switch off for you. But obviously, the lighting will be a lot brighter with electricity. But still, these things are actually pretty good when it comes to solar. And, when it comes to lighting up what's in your garden, which is the trees, if you've got them, that is a huge plus when it comes to displaying something in your garden, right? I mean, take a look at this, right? This person knows exactly what to do, all right? They've got two amazing pathways. That one goes like on a bit of a right angle, and it goes down like a bit of a dirt path, right? The other is the left main path with the bricks and of course the fence, and they've lit the path down either of them, right? And not just that, but the tree has been followed. Like the limbs of the tree are followed with lights around them. Now, if you are leaving the lights around these trees forever, kind of thing, if it's one of those displays where it's permanent, then you need to realize that trees grow in time, right? The limbs literally expand. Think of Arnold Schwarzenegger before he became really muscly, right? The more weights he pulls, the more his biceps get bigger and bigger. I mean, that's exactly what the tree trunks will be doing in time, right? They'll be expanding and getting bigger. And before you know it, he'll be screaming, "I'll be back and get to the chopper." The tree is apparently screaming that because, hey, we're apparently in Wizard of Oz. And in Wizard of Oz, trees throw apples and speak to you. But anyway, forget about that. So you need to realize that the trees will expand, and maybe every couple of loops leave a bit more excess cable bunched together, just a little bit more, so the tree can happily expand and not be suffocated with the cable, right? Because I have, like I said, I'm not going to show you where I live, obviously, but I have over the years and now I have had pretty cool, interesting light displays on my house and around my trees that basically follow the trees, kind of like this, right? And I leave them up all year round, kind of thing. So that's a lesson that I've learned the hard way, kind of thing, where the cable breaks, and once the cable breaks, you're kind of stuffed, right? Unless you know some electrician information, right? You can just splice some cables together, which I have done in the past, but it's hard work. So yeah, give the tree some breathing room by adding some extra cable just to loosen up a bit, you know. But how amazing does that look? I want to keep talking about that, for example, you know, the whole following of a tree, right? This just looks incredible. Just to follow the design of Mother Nature's tree, right? To use what's there in your garden and to display it with lights like that. You know, the trunk and then the branches and then oh, wow, it just looks really good. It's like a lifelike or a life-sized Christmas tree, but it's not a Christmas tree. It's not a pine tree, is it? It's just your normal tree. But you're adding a normal Christmas, making a normal tree into a Christmas tree, I think is really, really incredible, right? Now, this is something else I wanted to talk about, right? App-controlled Christmas lights. Now, I have personally never used this at all. But, there's a huge but, okay? In my studio, this thing right here, which changes the light. Are we changing? Hang on, there we go. This thing is powered by an app or, of course, with my finger, okay? And I've used the app for this thing. We may go green. Green's a nice color. I have used the app for this thing, and I've used apps for many other lighting situations that I've used in the past, but not Christmas lights, right? Let me tell you, it's frustrating trying to get the app working. A lot of the times the app is just glitchy, it's buggy, it won't cooperate with the light. It's delayed by sometimes a few seconds. Other times it works perfectly and there's no issue. There's no issue. But, oh, there goes my phone. I'm just dropping my phone everywhere. But, I mean, so much time I've been in the past just trying to get lights perfect with my app. And it just doesn't work. There's no feng shui. There's no ease of movement. Am I using that word correctly? Feng shui and ease of movement? It's like a Japanese term where people keep the house clean and it's just, it's functionable and movable. I'm probably not saying it correctly, but a lot of times these apps don't work correctly. And, you know, in my opinion, if it's got a physical button on it, then I will use that 100% of the time more than an app-controlled bullshit. All right, sometimes these apps don't work in time because your phone has updated to the newest iOS or Android operating system, and sometimes these apps they don't what's the word? They don't update their app for the new operating system on your phone, and it just doesn't work. So, in my opinion, I wouldn't get one of these for the long term. But if you want to play around with it, it may be fun. It may be fun. All right. Now, Christmas light buying guide. Well, there's an interesting website from Lowe's. Very interesting little website. Little article from Lowe's. So if you guys want to read any of that, please do, right? Just pause it and do your stuff. But, you know, types of Christmas lights. There are so many types of Christmas lights that you guys could buy. And we're not even going to talk about all of them because it would just, we'd make an hour or two video, wouldn't we really? But there's mini string lights, wide angle LED mini lights, large bulb lights, battery operated lights. Now, oh God, don't get me started with battery operated lights. I seriously dislike battery operated lights. The battery is going to die, and most people don't use rechargeable batteries. Like, you can get rechargeable AA and AAA batteries, right? But most people don't do that. You're buying batteries from your place, from your local wherever, okay? And you're going to be throwing the old ones away, and they're going to the tip, and it's just costing so much money, so much environmental harm, right? It's terrible. And a lot of times you just want to power your lights up, and you've got no batteries, and you think to yourself, God, if only I could just power it right now, but I haven't got any batteries. Like, sometimes you're going to go to your remote control for your television, right? You'll pull out the back of the remote control just to get these batteries, just to see if the lights will work. I mean, I really don't like battery operated lights. Unless there's a solar panel attached, which is okay, because then the solar panel recharges them every day, right? That's okay in my books. Once again, the brightness isn't quite as bright as electricity, right? But that's okay in my books. But purely battery operated lights, a scam. They're just a scam. I don't like them at all. Okay, no, don't get them, in my opinion. All right, animated and color changing lights, net lights, and then we're going to talk about net lights and Iceling lights in a second. LED rope lights, LED projection spotlights, pathway lights. Yeah, a very interesting little article. If you guys want to read any of that, then, you know, just pause the video at any point and do your thing. All right, choosing the right color. There's so much to talk about. A lot of things probably too much unnecessary. Just like this video, too much a lot of this and too much a lot of that. But, you know, whatever. If you guys want to read that, please do, right? But, okay, what's the next thing? So this is net lights. Now, I have used net lights once in the past. They can be good for covering a large surface area, such as, you know, this table and chairs area with a umbrella kind of thing, right? Or of course you can use different color ones like that. There we go. You guys can see a bit better now. All right. Now this is quite a nice one, right? You can put a net over a little shrubby tree like this, and you're getting maximum surface area all around the tree. But there's just one problem, in my opinion. It looks too symmetrical. It looks too perfect, and it looks like, well, that's net lights, right? It looks like, well, they've just bought some net lights and thrown it over the tree. It's too symmetrical, in my opinion, but I mean, you can utilize them for great coverage areas. Kind of cool. Now, going back to the lazy path, right, of putting lights in your house. I mean, this could be a one-stop shop for, you know, illuminating your house, right, with these laser dot lights. So it's basically a laser light that, you know, shines lasers all over your house. And some of these grids, right, they actually change color to like red to green. It's usually only that color for some reason. Something to do with scientists not able to conjure different colored lasers or something like that. They could probably add blue lasers because, you know, Blu-ray machines, they actually have a blue laser, I'm pretty sure. So they could do, you know, green, red and blue lasers, but a lot of these laser grid displays are usually red. They're usually just red, or some of them are red and green like this, right? But they do turn around and, you know, it's okay. It's okay. But once again, by the time that projects onto your house, the color and the brightness is significantly terrible. And especially if you have like dark bricks like that, these laser dots just will not look very good at all on dark surface area. Now this is, I guarantee you, this is actually photoshopped because there are laser dots on windows. Now those laser dots wouldn't be on the windows because they'd be going through the windows onto the actual inner parts of the house. So I'm pretty sure that's 100% Photoshop. So it just does not look that good in real life. But I mean, if you had lights on your house and you wanted to add that as a secondary thing, just to add a bit more flair, then you could absolutely do that, right? Now going to the next thing, you know, Iceling Lights. These things I have used in the past, and they are a lot of fun, especially when you hang them up from, you know, gutters kind of thing, or, you know, tree limbs. You've got a tree limb going up kind of thing, and you want them hanging down like icelings, like, you know, ice coming down like stalactites and stalagmites. You know, when you go to a cave, the stalactites are the ones that hang down, and the stalagmites are the ones that come from the very bottom of the floor up. Do I have that correct? I think I do. But anyway, it looks like, you know, cave stalagmites and stalactites kind of thing. And you can get them in different colors, okay? Now, there's actually, there's one more thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to colors, and I have not talked about it yet, so I'm going to talk about that right now. But that's also a very pretty little color situation. So, where is the thing? Where is the thing I want to talk about? So these powered lights, right, that are obviously powered in the wall, or of course you can get these versions in solar. But what I want to talk about is these ones that have multicolor on them, like they're red, green, blue, yellow. That's pretty much it, right? Green, blue, red, yellow, green, blue, red, yellow. And they're a line of lights that just have multicolors. Now, in my opinion, now look, this is just my opinion. In my opinion, that looks cheap. It looks cheap. It looks terrible. It looks nasty. You can get away with that color situation in some situations, and probably a lot of situations, right? But I just don't like that too much. Now look, in my studio, I've got these, you know, black light, blue light looking lights here. And they just come around like here. Now I want to do something with this eventually. I want those lights to come around here and then back here and then back here, right, kind of thing. But you can't really see. But I've got like a lounge here, and this is a staircase banister, right? And these lights come down here and they go all the way downstairs to the handrail kind of situation downstairs. So you can't really see that. So I want to move them around here at some point, but I didn't want to get multicolored lights here because I just thought that would look too cheap. So I got one specific color, which was that, right? Now, you may be saying to me, well, hang on, these are multicolored, and you would be right. You'd be absolutely right. These are multicolored. And I'm not particularly fully happy with them, but it is what it is. I've also got an LED strip. What would you call those things? It's like a 3M sticker on the back, and it's really, really thin, flat LED strip lights, right? And these are RGB. These are slowly changing color all the time. Now, I think they look really, really cool, and I like them. But yeah, just going back to this again, I think it looks cheap. I think it looks cheap. So if you do like a particular color, like red, or like, you know, black light blue, or green, you can get individual lights that actually have, like you can get LED lights that have just that one color. And I highly suggest getting that type of situation, right? Now going back to the tree situation again, where was the trees? I mean, this tree right here, trees in real life are green. And I think that green really emphasizes the tree, right? As opposed to having, you know, red, green, blue, orange kind of thing all around it. That would look cheap and nasty. Once again, I mean, it looks incredible. As much as I love colors, right? I have a lot of light displays put on my house over the years, and still do at the moment, with the color white. The color white, warm white or blue light is so nicer. Probably warm white like this is such a nicer color situation than multicolor, right? Now, obviously, one more thing to talk about when it comes to LEDs is, you know, you can get two different versions of white. One is the cool white, and one is the warm white. So this, once again, this is the warm white, and I'll show you the cool white right now. That is the cool white. All right. So if you're going to get colors, you need to make sure they complement each other. All right. Two very different kinds of white: cool white and warm white. All right. The warm white is there, obviously. The warm white is the light bulb. The cool white is the icicle things, right? So there's a lot to think about when you put Christmas lights up on your house, or have a plan for them at least to be put on the house, right? So when the end of the year comes and you want to put things away, here's a great tip from this website, right? Packing up for next year. Well, here's a simple way to pack up fairy lights to keep them tangle-free and easy to put up next year. So grab a cardboard roll from an old cling wrap or aluminium foil dispenser and cut a 2 centimeter slit into each end. Now lay your lights on the ground and, you know, hook one end into the slit on one side and start winding the lights on the roll. Okay. Now when you get to the last light, hook the lights into the other slit, or the same slit, one or the other, right? Wrap the rolled up lights in a bubble wrap type situation and store them in a shoebox. So there you go. I mean, it's that simple, okay? You may have just gone from a situation like this to something maybe, hopefully not like that, but like that or like that, right? Just don't go overboard. To be honest, that's on the verge of maybe going overboard, but it still looks very, very nice. Between these two photos, I definitely like this one more. I think that looks really, really nice. I hope you guys got some great information with today's video. It actually took me about 3 hours to get all the information already loaded onto my computer to show you guys, right? We're making videos every single day on this, in the studio on this channel, right? Channel 2, but of course we are on channel 1. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at Tallboy Gareth. All right, you can't see me now. You can't see me. Just no junk mail when you ring the bell, okay, when you come and subscribe. Junk mail sucks, all right? No one wants junk mail. I've been Tall. My name's Gareth. Merry Christmas. Love you all. Bye.